today because we're tackling one of the most universal, downright annoying problems of owning a car. Those yellow, foggy, just ugly headlights. You know the exact look, right? You walk up to your car, and instead of crisp, clear glass, it looks like your headlights literally have cataracts. And look, if you live in a harsh climate, like the intense, sun-baked, hyperhumid environment of Acadia and Lafayette Parish down in South Louisiana, this isn't just a cosmetic issue, it is an absolute inevitability. Your headlights are quietly being destroyed right now, one micro-layer at a time. But based on the on-the-ground, real-world experience of 87 Washes, a mobile detailing company operating right in that area, we've got the clear truth on exactly how to fix them.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Our roadmap for today: first, the science of cloudy headlights. Second, restoration versus full replacement. Third, the truth about DIY kits. Fourth, the professional process. And fifth, when to just replace them entirely.
All right, Section 1, the science of cloudy headlights. Let's figure out why this actually happens in the first place.
So what's actually turning yellow? Well, for that, we got to talk about polycarbonate. You see, modern headlight lenses aren't made of glass anymore. They're made of this really tough, lightweight plastic. But polycarbonate on its own is pretty vulnerable, so the factory seals it with a super thin UV protective coating. Think of it like a permanent sunscreen for your car. That coating works incredibly hard every single day. It blocks UV radiation, bounces off road grit, and keeps everything optically clear. But eventually, it fails. That cloudiness you're seeing, it's not just dirt. A quick scrub at the car wash isn't going to cut it. What you are actually looking at is the chemical breakdown of that UV coating and the oxidized polycarbonate right underneath it.
And honestly, geography plays a massive role here. Take South Louisiana, for instance. You got a crazy high UV index for a huge stretch of the year, combined with over 60 inches of annual rainfall, plus all the grit kicked up on rural parish roads. It is a brutal cocktail of intense sun, heavy rain, and abrasive debris that just severely accelerates that degradation process. The wear cycle in this kind of extreme climate is just way faster than in drier or cooler parts of the country, which is exactly why trusting local detailing expertise really matters.
Moving right along to Section 2, restoration versus full replacement. Because, let's be real, cost is exactly where most of us start our decision process.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive financial gap we're talking about. Look at the numbers from local mobile services like 87 Washes. A standalone professional headlight restoration? About $65. If you add it on to a detailing service, it drops to just $35. Now compare that to a full headlight assembly replacement at a local shop, you're easily looking at $150 to $400. And actually, scratch that. That replacement cost usually doesn't even include labor or the dealer markup on parts. The gap is just huge. For most vehicles with external damage, restoration gives you a dramatically better result for a mere fraction of the cost.
But here's the thing. A true professional isn't going to just take your money if restoration isn't the right fix. I absolutely love this quote from our source material. We'd rather lose a $65 job than have you leave with results that won't hold. That kind of radical transparency is exactly what you want to look for. If a lens is just too far gone, an honest pro will walk away. Restoration is way cheaper for sure, but it isn't magic. All right, Section 3, the truth about DIY kits. Because we've all been tempted in the auto parts aisle, right? So, the million-dollar question: can you just grab a box off a shelf and do it yourself? The short answer is yes, you totally can. But, and this is a massive but, it comes with a major caveat that most people don't realize until they're standing in their driveway, completely frustrated, staring at a lens that somehow looks way worse than when they started. Professional detailers will tell you the single biggest failure point for DIYers is uneven sanding. Listen, the abrasive step in these kits, it is not optional, and it's not just a light scuff. You have to completely strip away that degraded oxidized layer before you can even think about refining and coating the plastic. If you skip it, if you rush it, or if you sand unevenly, you are basically applying a brand new clear coat right on top of a failed surface, and the result? It gets blotchy almost immediately. Plus, not all kits are created equal. Those generic boxes you see everywhere usually lack professional-grade abrasives and proper coatings. Now, there are quality retail options out there if you're dead set on doing it yourself. Products like the Cerakote kit or Headlight Magic are solid, higher-tier options. But here is the absolutely crucial point. They still require immense patience and strict technique. The real difference between a DIY job and a professional service isn't just having the right tools. It's the consistency, the repeatability, and ultimately the long-term durability you get. Which brings us nicely to Section 4, the professional restoration process.
Let's look at how the pros actually pull this off. The process itself is straightforward, but the details are literally everything. First up, they clean and mask the lens to protect your car's paint. Second is the sanding sequence. And there's no one-size-fits-all script here. A pro actually reads the lens. Light oxidation might just need 1,000 up to 3,000 grit sandpaper, but severe yellowing? You gotta start way coarser. Third, they compound and polish, using something like McGuire's plastic polishing compound to bring that lens back to true optical clarity. And finally, step 4. Applying a 3M UV clear coat. Guys, this is the real game changer. This step replaces that original factory coating, and it's what actually prevents your headlights from just rapidly reoxidizing a few months down the road.
But even the absolute best clear coat has a mortal enemy: humidity. This is such a fascinating logistical hurdle for mobile operators who come right to your driveway. A UV clear coat requires a completely dry lens to cure properly before any rain or condensation hits it, so the professional has to know their weather window and work strictly within it. If they apply that clear coat in the wrong conditions, the cure is completely compromised, and that finish is going to peel or haze way too early.
Now, what's really interesting about this next point is managing our expectations. Even with a flawless professional process and perfect weather, your restored headlights won't always hit 100% of their factory new output. According to AAA testing, professional restoration averages about 73% of OEM light output. And you know what? That is a completely honest limitation. But think about it. Going from a dangerously foggy lens to 73% of factory brightness, that is a massive, highly visible improvement that totally transforms how your vehicle functions at night.
And finally, Section 5. When to just replace.
So, when is restoration just a complete waste of your money? Here are the definitive deal breakers. If your lens is cracked or the assembly is structurally compromised, restoration won't help you. More importantly, exterior restoration only fixes the outside of the plastic. If you've got moisture trapped inside the assembly, which by the way happens all the time after those brutal Louisiana summer rain cycles, or if there's haze and fogging on the backside of the lens, sanding the outside is totally useless. In those specific scenarios, internal resealing or just buying a whole new assembly are really your only viable options.
So bringing it all together based on everything we've looked at today, we have to ask the ultimate question: is headlight restoration actually worth it?
The answer is a resounding yes. As long as you're dealing with external oxidation and there's no internal damage to the assembly itself, restoration is a clear, definitive win. You gain substantially better nighttime visibility, a much cleaner look for your car, and crucial UV protection going forward, all for just a fraction of what a replacement would cost.
I want to leave you with this thought. The next time you walk out to your driveway and look at your cloudy headlights, are you just going to see stubborn dirt, or, armed with your new scientific understanding, will you see chemically failing polycarbonate just begging for a proper sanding and a fresh UV clear coat? Knowledge is power, you guys, especially when it saves you hundreds of dollars. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.